The Great River Shakespeare Festival is running now through July 31st, featuring Twelfth Night, and the African Company presents Richard III and more at Minnesota's premier Shakespeare Festival in Winona, Minnesota. Buy tickets online at grsf.org. Great River, great drama. This podcast is also brought to you by Trempealeau County Tourism. Whether your idea of fun is bicycling, hiking, or canoeing, afterwards head into the heart of one of their welcoming communities to experience historic architecture, independent shops, and locally owned dining establishments. Visit Trempealeau County Tourism online. We talked with Ethan Giroux of Canvasback Coffee. We got into the origin story of the business, how this coffee brand stands apart, its connection to conservation and sustainability, and how people can get these self-described badass beans. You can find more conversations, food reviews, live music, and events on our website, lacrosselocal.com. I'm Amy.
And I'm Brent.
And this is Lacrosse Local.
So my name is Ethan Giroux. I was born in La Crosse, grew up in Onalaska, and I have a business partner who happens to also be my fiance, Alexa. Very similar story. Grew up in the area. And our day jobs, I'm a marketing consultant. She's a realtor. And honestly, we spend a lot of time in coffee shops. So, meeting clients, getting work done, all the above. So there's a need for coffee in this area that isn't chain. And as coffee lovers, we felt that we could address that need.
What was the kind of the beginning steps for the company? Also, like just looking at your brand and the relationship to nature and the ducks, like how did the name come about?
I think, we kind of looked at it in three ways. First being we wanted to be completely set apart. There's so many coffee shops that have the same name. They're just in different cities or towns. So there is not another Canvasback coffee, and we're pretty proud of that. Secondly, it's kind of a play on the Canvasback duck in the duck world is the king of ducks. So tongue in cheek, we're trying to be the kings of coffee locally. And lastly, which I think is probably the most important, is, we're on the Mississippi Flyway, being on the Mississippi River. So this is a main corridor for ducks, migrating south and then back north every year. And the Canvasback passes through twice a year. And, kind of like a cup of coffee, like you love it when it's there, but you miss it when it's gone. And that's like the Canvasback. So it's kind of a spectacle to see them. They're beautiful ducks, beautiful birds. You see them for a short amount of time, then they're gone. So it's just kind of a cool little feature with living right on the Mississippi.
Like you just said, there's many different coffee companies, some around the area, even here in La Crosse, looking for that sort of unique name, unique sort of brand with it. How does your coffee stand apart?
Yeah, so there's quite a few chains in the area, and downtown La Crosse has a fantastic coffee scene. We are really trying to kind of hone in on Onalaska, not to say that we wouldn't venture, towards La Crosse eventually in terms of like a coffee shop or, some sort of location to house our beans for us. But so to backpedal, we took 2 years to actually source all of our beans and just, find the right ones that were different, standalone, perfect for what we were looking for. So it is an adventure to try to get the right beans. I mean, there was days that we had 12 different coffee beans and your mouth is burnt and you can't tell if it's good or bad at that point. And yeah, so again, just the time and effort that we put into it, the 2-year process before we even launched last August, I think is just part of, showing the effort and the love that we have for this or what we're doing. So
yeah, and you guys, you dropped off a bag, and I had the Canvasback coffee banded version. I normally, I make my coffee in a French press, and I probably drink, 4 to 6 cups a day, predominantly organic. But I do use cream, heavy half and half. So, but I tried yours, straight black, and then I had my normal traditional with heavy cream. But just tasting it just kind of black, and also you could also taste it with the cream, but in no way is it flavored, but just kind of the elements. And I think this one says pecan, apple, cherry, sugar cane, that really came through on the flavor that I've never really experienced before comparative to other coffees. And it's not flavored at all. I'm not a fan of flavored coffee, but it really kind of comes out at you. It was really actually quite surprising. That's no BS either.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, in all of our roasts, it was super important for us to try to tone down as much acidity and bitterness as possible. And a lot of that is the roasting process. But our goal was make sure that we have beans that you can drink black. And then obviously the creamers are always an added bonus to that kind of thing. But at all the events we go to, we serve samples. And you would be surprised. I would say 70 to 80% of the people that stop by say exactly what you just said. So
it's surprising. I mean, because that's one fear I always have is like when you come to try a new coffee or go to a coffee shop, and it's just I can't stand the acidic flavor sometimes. It almost kind of makes me dizzy in some ways. So it was nice to get this in me. So
yeah, exactly.
On your website, though, we talked about the ducks, but you offer reference conservation, sustainability. Why is that sort of process wrapped up in your business?
Alexa and I are outdoorsmen / outdoorswomen. We spend a lot of time hiking and going on walks and just being in nature. I'm a bow hunter and a duck hunter as well. And obviously when you're in it and experiencing it, you want to make sure it, stays that way. And so our kids and great grandkids and so on can enjoy it. So I guess what we wanted to tie into this was obviously a great coffee legacy, but also like, what did that company do to give back and make sure that, we left the world a better place than we found it. So currently we're working on, building up those partnerships, and we've got some really neat ideas in terms of just really unique stuff that nobody else is doing. One kind of glimpse I can give you is I'm calling it the shotgun shell initiative. So, when you duck hunt, you expel your casing from your shotgun shell, and some of those are easy to grab. Some of them unfortunately drift away. So we're trying to figure out a way to get, I guess, bins or containers at landings. So you have somewhere to dispose of them and they can get recycled from that point forward. And I'd love to tie in, whether it's 1 or 2 days a year, where we just get, a team of boats out on kind of popular duck hunting spots to just scour the ground, see if we can clean up as much as possible. So that's just like one of the ideas that we're trying to go after. Obviously, we'd love to get to a point where we can, cut some checks, whether it's small donations or time and energy to other groups like maybe the Bryce Prairie Conservation Association or some of the other local organizations. So we're getting there. That's phase 2 for us, and it's been really exciting. But it's also, once you figure out all the loops and hoops you got to jump through, it can be exhausting as well. So
just kind of looking at your website, you have a variety of different flavors. Can you run through a few of your favorites? Or looks like I talked about the banded, but there's a few others on here too.
All of our coffees are named, towards kind of that duck theme. Again, we're not trying to be too niche with that, but it's more so just a fun play on words for us. So we have 5 kind of mainstay roasts. First being Cold Front, which is our light roast. It was a Kenyan. It's actually switching to a Costa Rican. Very delicious coffee, very floral, tart, kind of, up front and not in your face, but just a little bit brighter in terms of flavor. Great for cold brews, etc. You kind of mentioned the banded. That's Guatemalan mild roast. Once you get to those South American coffees, they typically start to have a little more earthy tone, a little bit of, citrus with whether it's orange or apple. In this case, it's got the apple and cherry. Next is our Sky Bust, which is a medium roast. That's a Colombian. This one is surprisingly really earthy and kind of that umami with the milk chocolate and vanilla. But then on the finish is a really cool little orange kind of citrus pop, which really comes through nicely. Fourth, we have our Decoy Decaf Dark Roast. This one we're really excited about because it's really bold and rich with, again, being a Colombian with those earthy tones. But we use an all-natural sugarcane decaffeinating process, which is way better for you than, some of the large coffee corporations that are using bleaching agents and chemicals to strip the beans of their caffeine. So that one's great. We drink that one kind of from noon on just because we don't want to stay up till 4 a.m. And then lastly, we have the Blackwater, which is our dark roast. Between that and the Sky Bus, those are the 2 most popular, but the Blackwater is really that rich, bold, it's got the dark chocolate, the toffee flavor profiles, and that's a Rwandan Brazilian blend. So you get kind of best of both worlds with like Africa meets South America in the blend. And then lastly, sorry to ramble on, but we still have 2 new ones that are coming out, which are really exciting. One's a Honduran and one is a Burundi from Africa. And those are going to be a little bit higher end. They're more premium. They're micro lots. So we're only going to have them for 3 to 5 months. But those are 2 coffees that we're extremely excited about.
So some seasonal flavors as well. So We've referenced the website. You've kind of referenced, potential for a physical location. You said right on your website, some badass beans. Where do people get these badass beans? Where should they go?
Yeah. So obviously, online, that's the first spot. You'll pay for shipping, obviously, and then you'll have, a little bit of a wait. But if you want to find them in town, our first spot we've gotten into is River Trail Cycles in Onalaska. It's over by the YMCA off Highway 35 there. Emily is awesome. She carries our stuff. Natty West Home Goods store just opened up in Center 90. It's right next to Lindy's Subs in Onalaska there. They have our coffee. And then we're working on a few other spots too. St. Joe's Country Market out on St. Joseph's Ridge. And then there is a couple of restaurants we're trying to get into as well. And we're hoping in the next few weeks we're dialed in there. So a lot of good options.
What's next for the business? What's next? I mean, is there anything you're excited for coming down the road?
Yeah, so short term, we have a lot of events coming up this spring and summer. Little markets, local get-togethers for vendors. So if you want to check those out, canvasbackcoffee.com/events. That'll kind of show you where we're at, and we'll have coffee for sale there, and then free samples so you can actually try, before you buy. Secondly, building those conservation partnerships. That's kind of a big thing for us. So we're still working on that. And then again, we both mentioned it, but we are eyeing up a physical location. We don't have anything set in stone under contract yet, but we have a good idea of where we want to go. It's just kind of ironing out the details right now. So.
Lacrosse Local Podcast is a production of River Travel Media. Do you have an interview idea you'd like to share with us? Message us on Facebook at Lacrosse Local. Find out more about us at lacrosselocal.com, and you can subscribe to the Lacrosse Local Podcast on your favorite podcast app. If you like us, rate us 5 stars. We appreciate it.